also have just joined a site called 100. Woo!
Wrestling fans are upset today. A number seem to claim that WWE ruined Bray Wyatt's new character, The Fiend. And I'm not a wrestling fan of today. I mean, I used to be obsessed with this fake fight business, and I've been to WrestleMania over 10 years ago. But today's wrestling is just not my cup of tea. But from time to time, especially, I live in Scotland, by the way, in case you couldn't tell, especially if I'm up too late, I'm on Twitter, and I see wrestling trends, if it's a pay-per-view or something, like last night, I'll maybe go and check it out to see what the hell's going on. Hell in the Cell was what was going on last night, and many fans were complaining about The Fiend versus Seth Rollins title match. Is it the Universal title? There's so many titles in WWE now, it's hard to keep up with how many heavyweight titles there is, how many mid-card titles there is, how many tag team titles there is. I liked when it was just WWF Champion, Intercontinental Champion, and the World Wrestling Federation Tag Team Champions. That was good. Simple times, better product. Anyways, rambling on there. So I got to watching this match to see why the fans were very upset, and whoa, I watched the highlights, but that was long enough. The red light, my eyes are not that great. I wear contacts all the time, and that red light for a kickoff was so irritating on the eye. So we're starting at a 10 out of 10 for this match. That's a point gone already, so we're at 9. And then it got going. This was a really, not just the booking of the match, but this was a really bad match to watch. This was terrible. In fact, I would say it's up there with one of the worst matches I've ever seen. And I got into wrestling when Hulkamania was still in his prime. I grew up with Austin. As I said, I went to WrestleMania. I've seen Shawn Michaels v. The Undertaker. Blah, 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 blah. I've seen a lot of wrestling, even though I don't like today's product. I've seen a lot of wrestling in my lifetime. And that was a mess. That match is what could ruin wrestling altogether. That was terrible. I know they've got to protect The Fiend, but I thought they overdid that by how many times he was able to kick out and get up. I mean, you've got to suspend your disbelief for wrestling, but come on. I like the Fiend character. I've seen a few skits with him, and I love the one where Vince McMahon was the puppet and he was feeding him money. That was all good stuff. But it's like, I just felt like with the way this match was booked and with, I mean, The Fiend should have happened is The Fiend should have just destroyed Seth Rollins and became the Universal Champion and remained booked right. But this way of booking The Fiend was absolutely ridiculous. And I just felt like it was making, I mean, wrestling, as we all know, is not real. But this match was making wrestling look so fake and exposed, and it was a terrible booking. Like I say, I would have had The Fiend remain booked right and would have destroyed Seth Rollins, because Seth Rollins has been a terrible champion. And from what I've heard, he's been a very poor drawing champion. So, and any time I've watched him, there's been dead silence in the crowd. The crowd overall just don't seem to have bought into the Seth Rollins title reign, and I certainly have not. It's not made me want to watch again, that's for certain. So yeah, one of the worst matches I've ever seen. It seems already the WWE's ruined The Fiend. However, they could still save him. They just have to pretend. They just have to wave a magic wand in front of everybody and say, That didn't happen last night. And they can still, with the right writing, could rebuild this character. But by God Almighty, good God Almighty, they killed him. They killed that character, as Jim Ross would say. But with good writing, the Fiend could rise again. Just do a total reboot. Just don't acknowledge Hell in a Cell going forward. And perhaps you can salvage this character. But by God Almighty, the WWE did a lot of damage to the Fiend last night. And fans are mad.